The Committee on Agricultural, Broadband, and Rural Development is now in session. Folks, we've got lots of interesting bills discussed today. The first one will be Senate File 22200, Senator Port's WomenVenture appropriation to establish a business expansion program for women food entrepreneurs. Senator Port, if you would please come to the desk and commence your testimony.
Good afternoon, Chair Putnam and committee members. I am delighted to be here with you on International Women's Day to present Senate File 2200, a bill to support and grow the advancement of women farmers and cottage food producers through the process of expansion into full-fledged business owners. In the portion of Senate File 22 under the jurisdiction of your committee, you can turn to page 2 of the bill, and it starts at paragraph B. The bill appropriates $3 million in each fiscal year 24 and 25 through the Commissioner of Agriculture to WomenVenture to support business expansion and stabilization for women food entrepreneurs across Minnesota. From an auntie's table that is always open to anyone in the neighborhood, to church basement dinners, to leftovers sent home with visitors, to freezer meals dropped off in times of crisis, feeding our communities is in the blood of Minnesota women. In many places across the state, women are making ends meet by becoming cottage food producers. They are feeding their neighbors and providing ingredients for local businesses through small farming operations. But women, especially women of color, are often left out of investments in growing their small operations into sustainable, stable, wealth-building businesses. Enter WomenVenture. I'll let them speak for themselves, but I'm incredibly honored to sit here today and ask you to invest in their work. The loans, forgivable loans, and grants that will be provided through the money you invest will help to develop business plans, research expansion opportunities, do food safety assessments and regulations necessary to grow, and much, much more. A relatively small investment from the state could greatly expand the reach and potential for women entrepreneurs across our state. Thank you for hearing our bill today, and with your permission, Mr. Chair, I will turn it over to my testifiers.
Thank you, Senator Port. Ms. Rasachak, if you would please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Yes, good afternoon. Leanne Rasachak, CEO of WomenVenture. Chair Putnam, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify today and speak to the importance of food entrepreneurship, supporting women entrepreneurs and business owners, as well as underserved communities. If you're not familiar with WomenVenture, we are 44 years young. We are based right here in St. Paul, Minnesota. We are a community development financial institution, along with a US SBA designated women's business center. We are the only one based here in the Twin Cities and one of 3 in the state of Minnesota. As a CDFI and Women's Business Center, we have seen a growing number of entrepreneurs and small business owners coming to our doors for support for affordable capital access, as well as business training and support. That means developing business plans alongside her, providing mentorship and consulting. And from an affordable capital perspective, we provide loans of up to $100,000 at lower interest rates than that of a bank and that of any predatory lender or credit cards that business owners may be using to help to support their businesses. We are here today to ask for your support around this funding. WomenVenture currently, along with other CDFI partners, are experiencing a queue of business owners that are coming to us for support around their business development planning, around being able to grow and scale their business. They were asking for affordable capital, and as we look at the number of lives that we've touched just in our last fiscal year, 2022, that ended June 30th, and this is kind of coming out of the pandemic, we've served more than 2,500 people, or 2,500 businesses. We've provided nearly $2 million of loans, and we are on track to provide $2 million and above for this fiscal year that wraps up in just a few months. We've provided 10,000 hours of training and consulting. That is based on existing demand for people that know who we are. Now, when we look at the cottage food producer industry, we have 7,000 businesses that are registered through the state ag department, right? They are looking for an organization to go to that can help them in the in-between. The in-between are somewhere between early startups to the accelerator. There isn't currently a solution. As we've talked to AURI, we talked to our partners in naturally Minnesota, there isn't someone to help meet in the middle, and we do feel and can demonstrate that we can be that connective tissue across the ecosystem. We serve the 16-county metro area and beyond, 2 western Wisconsin counties, and the footprint is much larger as you look at the businesses that we serve here who are pulling on food producers, farmers across the state of Minnesota. I want to hand over the mic to Vanessa Drews. She is a client of WomenVentures and the owner of Cheesecake Funk, who is here to tell you her personal story and experience as a wholesale food manufacturer.
Thank you, Ms. Rasicek. Ms. Drews, if you would, please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Hello, my name is Vanessa Drews, and I'm the owner of Cheesecake Funk. Honestly, I think that I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for WomenVenture. I started baking a long time ago, in 2002. For about 20 years, I was a senior paralegal at Robbins Kaplan Law Firm in the products liability area. I decided in August of 2019 to step away from that and start growing my business, Cheesecake Funk. When I did that, I decided to invest in myself because I just really wanted to take it to the next level, and I knew if I focused on it 100%, I could grow. I'm currently in about 20 restaurants across the Twin Cities. And also another reason why I kind of pivoted to do this, I also used to work for Prince, and he's the one that came up with the name Cheesecake Funk. He tried my cheesecake and he loved it and started referencing it as Cheesecake Funk. So then fast forward to March 1st of 2020 was the first day of my new lease at my new kitchen. At that time, I was just focused on supplying restaurants. March 16th, March 18th, restaurants and everything shut down. So all of my income was gone. So then I took about a month off and then decided, how am I going to do this? So then I decided to bake everything by myself, run everything by myself in order to keep myself safe, my family safe, and my customers safe. Through the entire pandemic, I've received no support from the federal side, state side. The only support I've received is from WomenVenture. I'm super thankful for their support. But also, I'm just so determined to make my business grow. My cheesecake is the only dessert offered at Paisley Park to fans when they visit Minnesota. Sorry for being emotional. I'm just so thankful for the support of Leanne and everybody at WomenVenture. I'm determined to keep growing. So the support that they give me is the support that makes my business thrive. I'm also extremely proud of the fact that yesterday I received clear to close. I'm purchasing a townhouse and closing next Friday. So me and my children will have our own home. And I'm just so proud of the fact that I've been able to grow my business, sustain my business. And in addition to that, I currently bake out of the Minneapolis Marriott Southwest Hotel in Minnetonka. When COVID hit, I had to figure out, how to connect to customers. So I revamped my website, and people can pre-order at cheesecakefunk.com, and then I ask for a few business days' notice in order to supply the cheesecakes, and then they come and pick it up at the hotel. It's a wonderful partnership that I have with the hotel and myself with bringing guests to the hotel, and it allows me to bake and use hotel resources. So at this point, that's where I'm going to stay, but my goal is to grow even more as a wholesale manufacturer in the state of Minnesota, as hopefully one of the best cheesecake and dessert entities there is.
Mr. Hughes, I just want to say personally, thank you for your testimony, and I'm inspired by your advocacy, and I can speak for the committee as a whole when I say also, we're grateful for cheesecake too.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Ms. Drews has brought cheesecake for the committee. It is on the back table. If you'd like to taste some cheesecake funk, we brought it for you today.
Senator Port, you have now witnessed the glory that is the Ag Committee. Folks, a great time for us to sort of pivot into our questions and our conversations about this significant and delightful project. Ms. Rosachek, you mentioned AURI, and clearly you have a focus on a population and you're serving a group of people who need extra support. But could you also talk a little bit about the relationship between the kinds of things that you do and the kinds of things that we know AURI does?
Yes, so I mentioned earlier about this gap around early stage to accelerator, and the lane in which WomenVenture would operate and where we do operate and then where we partner, right? So we often are a bridge to other resources. We do not ourselves do the food licensing. We are not the ones that do the research around packaging, labeling, testing. Those relationships, the sponsorship, as well as the expertise, we would lean on AURI, Naturally Minnesota, other resources that are available to help to bridge that for entrepreneurs. To be clear around what WomenVenture would be managing as a part of this program is around the business planning and development for these pivot points or pivotal points, hobbyist to cottage food producer then growing to a manufacturer, smaller scale, and then helping to position from smaller scale to large scale food manufacturer. Along with that business training and development, what we provide is a business plan, a peer circle, and we do look at, as a part of that planning process, operations and financials, right? So the intention is that it's business sustainability and feasibility of growth and helping to grow at a measured pace. The capital access piece then comes in the forms of loans and grants as tied to this specific plan. So that is our proposed approach to this, as well as having then food specialists in the business space be able to help to support directly, then connecting with AURI and other resources across the state of Minnesota. We are one component of a broader ecosystem. We have found that our role is very similar to that of a social worker for entrepreneurs and small business owners. The feedback that we receive from clients is that while there are a lot of resources out there, it can be confusing, disjointed, and intimidating to go and find those resources, apply for them, while also trying to run your business.
Thank you, Ms. Rosachek.
Thank you.
Members, questions for our testifiers, the bill's author, or comments on the bill proposal? Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's mentioned here that, Senator Port, you mentioned that a lot of women are overlooked in the process of getting help financially, and I think your testifier, Ms. Drews, also said that. What is it about the applications that they have to fill out? What is it on that application or in the final output of the information that they're looking for that disqualifies a woman from getting the grant or getting the loan that they need?
Senator Port, or your testifier? Senator Port?
I'll start, Mr. Chair, and then pass it to Ms. Rosachek. I think the first piece of that is the training and understanding and connections to understand when, how, and who can help you get those. They're often sort of these cottage food industries are grown out of someone's kitchen, right? It's literally Vanessa making cheesecakes in her kitchen and figuring out how to grow that in their business. It is not often that these women are surrounded by a community who knows how to take those next steps to grow that business, that they've had that training and development, and that is where WomenVenture can really provide that peer consulting, business consulting, helping to build a business plan so that they can move into those next steps. And I don't know if Ms. Rosachek.
Yes,
Ms. Rosachek?
thank you for the question, and to expand on that. For example, we have many clients that come to us from across industries to get them to the starting point, right, to the starting line. It is, before we get to a clear business plan even, Are you registered as a business in the state of Minnesota or the state in which you're based out of? Have you looked at your financials and your current financial performance to really understand, what does it mean? And are they decoupled in terms of your personal finances as well as your business finance, right? So we're trying to get her to the starting line with the basic kind of business fundamentals of where to get started in conversations that she may have already had with small business banking. The feedback that she's receiving is your business is not large enough. It's not significant enough. It's too much of a risk for us as a traditional bank to be able to provide you with the access that you need. When it comes to the application process, and I recently had a client share this with me. If you've been on our state ag department website, there are an abundance of resources, tricky to navigate, to know kind of where do you start, what needs to, what application goes where, and what is the process to be able to follow and track to. Lots of personal information is shared throughout that application process, and as many entrepreneurs experience, the answer is no, and they've heard no many times, right? So there's a component where how do we help build confidence with a solid plan and a financial position. So we also have credit building, education, and programs, because oftentimes their credit scores aren't as high either. So when we think about what are all the needs that she has, we are starting with financial literacy, we are starting with a feasible and sound business operations plan, and a clear pitch that makes it very easy to go in front of any decision maker to say, this is an investment this is an investment worth making, and we're closing the wealth gap by generating business, by owning homes, and we know that when we employ women, they give back not only to their communities, but they're paying living wages to their employees as well. Thank you for the question and the opportunity.
Senator Anderson.
Thank you. So you've been in business for 44 years.
Correct.
And I'm guessing that because you mentioned AORI, that you've been funded through them in the past as far as WomenVenture going forward. And I'm wondering what this legislation is going to do different than what you've had in the past under AURI. I'm guessing that's where you were at.
Thank you for the question. We have not been
Ms.
funded
Rasicek?
we have not been funded by AURI. So we are building the partnership and relationships within the ecosystem to work together. So we've not received direct funding from them. The majority of our funding has come from SBA, CDFI, corporate and private foundations, as well as individual donors, and Minnesota Deed.
So,
Senator Anderson.
follow up. So, Mr. Chair, this will be the first time that you've received state funding for your program.
Ms. Rasicek.
Yes, this would be the first time through agriculture. So we have long been a partner with Minnesota Deed. We've actually dispersed nearly $10 million in funding through the pandemic. We are also a preferred small business resource partner by Minnesota Deed. As far as agriculture, this would be the first time.
So,
Senator Anderson.
to that point, you said you've been funded through Minnesota Deed in the past?
Yes.
Why wouldn't you go back to Minnesota Deed rather than through agriculture?
Ms. Rasicek.
Sorry.
That's okay.
It is shared. So the ask within this bill is shared across Minnesota Deed as well as ag, because there are ag-specific programs, right, and development that we would incorporate into our training, that baseline business training we have. What we would like to be able to tailor is for the food manufacturing, food production business, and that is where the ag component comes in,
Senator Anderson.
for cottage food producers specifically. Thank you.
Members, other questions for the testifiers or comments on the proposal? Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a comment of praise. I think that this is a great idea. I've had some experience with WomenVenture, and they are lovely and wonderful and resourceful and helpful. It is really tough to be a mom and want to start a business. It's just tough for anybody. But I guess women usually want to start a business so that they can sort of be their own boss and make their own way and use some of their skills to benefit directly their own families. And like you said, with your children, be able to buy a home and have that independence, especially that economic independence. And WomenVenture is a really nice partner to have in that. So I think it's great. I also, we've seen several people testify for funds through this program. And this does fit. I do see this. The food production is directly linked to our agriculture, and another way to sort of expand and get people involved in that process in the agriculture community. So, I think it's great. Anytime we can boost our economy, especially small local businesses, through things like this, I think it's good for the economy, it's good for our families, and in this case, it's particularly good for women who have every right to own a business as much as anybody else does. So, thank you.
Senator Port, closing comments? Oh, Ms. Raschak.
Sorry,
you have
I just
something.
wanted to respond and say thank you very much for that recognition. We're grateful for the support. Going back to why ag, there are 7,000 registered cottage food producers in Minnesota, of which nearly half are based here in the 16-county area in which we operate for WomenVenture. So I wanted to just make sure that I helped to address that, to provide clarity and a data point around why ag as well. Thank you for the question and for the feedback.
Senator Port, closing comments.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I will just say, in the legislature, a lot of times we try to look for efficiencies and private-public partnerships. And in my mind, this is exactly one of those. We know WomenVenture has a proven track record of being effective and moving businesses from those small startups into more successful, stable businesses. And I really encourage the committee to invest in this bill.
Thank you, Senator Port. Senate File 2200 will eventually be referred to Jobs, but for now, I think I'm going to lay it over.
And
Next-
members, I encourage you to get some cheesecake.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Senator Westrom has decided he's glad he got here today. All right, members, the next thing we're talking about today is Senate File 2087, Senator Murphy and the Center for Rural Policy and Development Grants Appropriation.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair and members, and is the cheesecake available for people in the audience?
Senator Murphy, my understanding is you have at one point served on the Ag Committee, so you were qualified for cheesecake.
That's awesome. Mr. Chair and members, I'm really delighted to be here to talk with you about Senate File 2087, which extends funding for an important organization that I have come to rely upon in my work in the legislature, and that is the Center for Rural Policy and Development. I am here today with Executive Director Julie Tesh, who's going to talk more about the center. And of course, they have been before the Ag Committee many times, and many of you know about this organization. I will say that each of us elected to represent Minnesotans come together to this body, each with our own experience, our own perspective on the world based on what we do, who we are, and where we live. One of the things I really appreciate about the center is they bring to us reliable, nonpartisan research on issues that are facing Minnesotans in a way that can help shape our collective thinking and maybe cut across our differences and help us focus on the things that will allow Minnesotans to choose the life and to live where they want and to thrive. That work is really important to me, and I think it is worthy of our attention, and I hope as you put together your budget, Senator Putnam, Mr. Chair, worthy of some funding. And with that, I'll turn it to Executive Director Julie Tesh, who, by the way, is somebody I was a policy fellow with, so it's a good thing to be with her together.
Thank you, Senator Murphy. Ms. Tesh, if you would please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Yes, my name is Julie Tesh, and I'm President and CEO of the Center for Rural Policy and Development. I do have a slideshow, but technology is not my friend, so we'll see. I know you all have a handout in front of you, so we're just going to go with that. There we go. Look at that. Ta-da, look at that. Thank you for having us here today. It's a pleasure to be here to talk with all of you. We're just going to get going right here. About us, we were created in statute in 1997 by the state of Minnesota. And we have been going ever since. And we're a public-private partnership, so we're our own 501c3. We're funded through the ag line and also through deed, and then we have some private foundation funding as well. And if you want the statute number where we were created under, you can go right there. But what we do is we do research on rural Minnesota. That is all we do. I think we do it very well. It's unbiased. The data are the data, and our reports show that. So we're nonpartisan, nonprofit policy research organization. I have 20 board members. 13 of them are appointed by the governor, and then 2 of them are appointed by House and Senate leadership, and then we have 5 at-large positions. And so it is a big board, but they do a very good job of making sure that our research is robust. And then we have a lean, mean staff, 3 staff members. We were virtual before it was cool, and so I'm based in rural Waseca County, southern Minnesota, and then I have a staff member in Mankato and another one in New London. You might be wondering, what do we do? Why is this important? And for those of you that have tried to find data on rural Minnesota, you know that it is notoriously hard to find. And if you do find it, it's difficult to use. And so we take those complicated and complex issues and present them in ways that give them meaning and relevance to decision makers like yourself. So our research ends up going to people like yourself, county commissioners, economic development directors, township leaders, the whole gamut. And so our research doesn't determine public policy, but it informs those making the decisions like yourself. And there's our lovely staff. A question is often asked about our research agenda. How do you decide how you're going to do your research? And what we do is we do a thought leader survey, and you will all be receiving a survey in the next few weeks asking you for your opinions on what is, actually not even opinions, telling me the facts about what is going on in your local area in rural Minnesota, because we want to know what are the issues that are most important. And so you will give us that thought leader survey, you will tell us what's going on, then we will go through, we'll have about 15 to 20 topics, and you'll go through and rank those and say, I think these are the most important, urgent, whatnot. And from there, we decide our 4 to 7 research topics for our year. Our research year follows our fiscal year, so that'll be July 1. And so we rely on all of you to tell us what's going on in greater Minnesota, and then our board goes through and recommends what our research questions will be. Quickly, we're on social media. I have a wonderful intern right now from Concordia University in Moorhead. So I'm smiling, yes. And he's getting us on Instagram, so that's wonderful. Quickly about our research. Our research over the years, childcare. We were the canary in the coal mine 7 years ago on the childcare shortage. And once COVID hit, we know that people were paying more attention, and it was an economic development issue. And so we're looked upon for that greatly. Also, workforce shortages. Our most recent research came out on mental health, workforce, the pipeline. One coming out here in the near future is on rural newspapers and civic engagement and how the decline of rural newspapers is affecting that. Also, diversity and immigration and intersection and rural issues. You can see the whole list here. A lot of different things. It just kind of depends upon what our thought leader survey tells us. One other research report that we do have coming out this year will be on education funding. So be looking for that. And you can see here what we're working on this year, the K-12 education formula and rural mental health. And the wonderful thing about our research is when we were created to do white paper research. We have taken that and expanded it, I think, in a great way, because not everyone has time. You all don't have time to read a 20-page paper, nor do you probably want to. But we try to make it easy for you to understand in easy bites. And so we have a podcast. During session, we release a podcast every other week, typically on our research issue, but you can see a list of episodes that we've had, anywhere from artists on Main Street to volunteer drivers to census data. If you want to geek out on research, this is the podcast for you. Also, we have a newsletter. We're up to almost 2,000 people on our newsletter, but then also on social media as well. And I will point out on YouTube, for each report that we put out, we do a webinar with people that helped us with the research and our own researcher. So you can go on YouTube and watch that webinar and be able to find that in a quick amount of time, so you don't have to read the paper. And with that, I'm going to leave it open for questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Tesh. I'm sorry about the cheesecake negotiations that distracted me
I
briefly.
I get it.
Members, do we have questions for the author of the bill or Ms. Tesh? Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair, and Senator Murphy, I appreciate you bringing this bill forward. I'm familiar with the work that you folks do, and Ms. Tesh, thank you very much for being here today. Do appreciate the work you do. Keep up the good work, and hopefully this will get through the funding process because it's something needed in rural Minnesota. So thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I see on where you're talking about childcare shortage that you have a little box off to the left. It says rural reality mental health services, and then you have a caption that says unsustainable model. So you're kind of giving us recommendations or giving the public recommendations as to what you've seen as far as what doesn't work. And when I'm looking for something that says sustainable model.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering, do you have that on another page of that report, or it's like an action item? I'm just looking for some possibilities to look at in these topics that you or issues that you've shared with us.
Ms. Tesh.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Anderson, good question. You know, looking through this slide again, it's like, okay, there's mental health here, and then we're talking about childcare shortage over here. So it's a little disjointed here, but the mental health services, it being unsustainable, that is more talking about just the system as a whole. And we do go through and give some ideas of what might work, and so I'll actually refer to childcare. Our latest report on childcare is we have gone around and done interviews and focus groups with childcare providers around the state and talked to different communities and given ideas of what communities are doing. And the same with the rural mental health. We're working with Minnesota State University, Mankato, their new Center for Rural Behavioral Health, and working on those advancements and trying to get more practitioners in the pipeline. So a little disjointed there, but nonetheless.
Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Tesh, I just had a lady in my office about 2 hours ago. She's from the Monticello area where I represent, and she is basically a teacher. She's gone from now being a teacher to working with daycare, childcare, and concern about shortages in regards to that. And I asked her what she thought was the biggest obstacle in doing this, and she's, well, the pandemic was a big obstacle, but prior to that is the obstacle of trying to unionize daycare providers. And so she's saying, you know, we've put a lot of rules and regulations in on a lot of people who would like to take care of children, but you've got rules and regulations that prevent people from wanting to go back to that profession because of the situation, whether it's a county or state. And so I don't know if you've developed any type of investigation into that or not, but it seems like from what her vantage point is, we've kind of made women who would like to stay and be a part of that childcare industry or situation, we're putting them out of business just because we can.
Mr. Chair.
Ms. Tesh, you don't necessarily have to have an opinion one way or another on that particular issue, but in terms of your research and the stuff that you've
In terms of our
generated.
research, I can tell you that that is one aspect of childcare that we do look at. So we do look at the role of regulations. We also look at, can you be a successful business person being a child care provider? And in rural and urban, it's very different because it's mainly daycare centers or child care centers in urban, and it's family child care in rural. And so it's two very different models. And so we explore that in our research.
Thank you, Ms. Tesh. Senator Anderson. Members, any further questions for our testifiers of the bill? Senator Westrom.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Tesh, what would you say are the one or two hot button issues you're seeing now that maybe you're starting to work on or consider research? Or three, just what's kind of on the landscape that you are looking forward at?
Ms. Tesh.
Mr. Chair, Senator Westrom, it will be no surprise that mental health is number one. I fully anticipate that to come back. That was for number one in our study last year in our thought leader survey. I fully expect that to be number one this year. And talking about workforce, I also I can put money down that it'll be housing. And then also talking about retirement population and that whole gamut. So those are the top three things that I know are going to be coming down the pipe.
Thank you, Ms. Tesh. Senator Westrom.
Mr. Chair, Ms. Tesh, you in part of your answer, you mentioned workforce. Is there any aspects of workforce that you've been looking at also or foresee? That seems to be a big challenge statewide, but I don't know if it's particularly unique to rural Minnesota or not, but any thoughts you have on that?
Ms. Tesh.
Chair Putnam, Senator Westrom, it is a statewide issue, definitely, but in rural, again, it's different. And so we do have a report this last year on workforce, and it's actually split up by regions of the state because what happens on the Iron Range is very different than what happens in my world in south central Minnesota for workforce. And so workforce is another one of those topics, and we're going now from trying to recruit businesses to come in. Now we need the people. We have for the most part, we have the jobs. Now we need the people. It's people recruitment. And so we explore that topic in some of our research as well. So that will continue to be a topic that we work on for years and years to come.
Thank you, Ms. Tesh. Members, see no further questions or comments. Senator Murphy, would your closing comments?
Mr. Chair and members, I am really, really grateful for your consideration for this important work. Thank you very much for giving us a hearing today.
Thank you, Senator Murphy. Senate File 2087 will be laid over for possible inclusion. Members, I also need to point out that we do have a quorum present now. Our next bill that we're going to talk about is Senate File 1712. Senator Johnson, the Minnesota Turf Seed Council grant appropriation. If you would please approach the table. Senator Johnson, to your bill when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I often wonder when I'm here how in this institution we get up in the morning and we run around all day long, we don't have time for a meal, we can't eat, we're constantly in motion. How do I gain weight? And I'm sitting there and a cheesecake falls from heaven onto my lap and I'm like, this is it. This is
Didn't
how it
fall from
happened.
heaven, it fell from me, just so you know.
Thank you very much. It was delicious. So it's wonderful. Well, thank you for taking time to evaluate Senate File 1712. This is a bill that comes up biennially regarding the turf seed industry. What it is a $75,000 appropriation to the Department of Agriculture for a pass-through grant to the Turf Seed Council. This is located in my district, just outside of Roseau. It does a lot of research on grass and turf seeds, and the work that they do up there has demonstrated on lawns and golf courses and cover crops and things across the nation. With that, I would like to turn it over to Marv Zutz. I'll talk a little bit about the work that they do. Or maybe we just take 5.
It's a fun little mystery. What could happen next?
Well, if we're clear, Mr. Chair, I'll turn that over to
Mr. Zutz, if you would please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for the opportunity to be here today. My name is Marvin Zutz, Executive Director of the Minnesota Turf Seed Council. The Minnesota Turf Seed Council is comprised of a group of farmers, processors, and businesses that represent the turf seed industry in northwest Minnesota. The grass seed industry in northern Minnesota has a long history of turf seed production, starting with the initial appropriation of $35,000 to the University of Minnesota from the Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Commission in 1948 to help develop the grass and legume seed industry. The investment helped the University of Minnesota develop the park variety of Kentucky bluegrass, the very first winter hardy variety that could survive the harsh winters in Minnesota. The Park Kentucky bluegrass was first planted experimentally on a 3-acre field just near Roseau in 1953. The results from the production on this first field were excellent and spawned the grass seed industry in Roseau and Lake of the Woods counties. The Park bluegrass variety is still grown in northern Minnesota. The success of the bluegrass industry started the production of many other species, including timothy, red top, red clover, bird's foot trefoil, perennial ryegrass, and most recently the fescues. The introduction of perennial ryegrass to the marketplace has resulted in plantings of 50,000 acres plus in the area. Consumer demand still drives the industry. Following World War II, seed consumers wanted lush green lawns that they enjoyed watering, fertilizing, and mowing. The new generation, however, still enjoys green lawns, but they don't want to water, fertilize, or mow. This is one of the reasons we are looking at fescues. In 1998, the University of Minnesota received a gift of 40 acres from Mrs. Peggy Magnuson for a permanent research farm dedicated to grass and legume seeds at Roseau. The College of Agriculture, Food, and Environmental Sciences, in cooperation with the Northern Minnesota Forage Seed Advisory Board, now the Minnesota Turf Seed Council, built a structure on the farm that houses equipment and provides office space for the seed production research project and the Minnesota Crop Improvement Association. 3 grass seed processing companies employing 40 workers have been created in Roseau County to clean and sort the seed for the market. 2 of the companies are privately owned and 1 is a producer cooperative. These grasses contribute heavily to the economy of the area. There's about $25 million of farm gate producer-generated income. The factor of 7 is generally used to estimate the economic impact to the region. This would estimate the impact to be $175 million annually to the economic activity in the region from that industry. The production of these seeds is environmentally friendly. Some of these species are perennials and produce seed for 4 or 5 years. Consequently, the soil is not disturbed for years, and there is growth all growing season to prevent nutrient runoff. The seed produced from fields in northern Minnesota goes to help solve environmental problems across the nation. These seeds are used for mine reclamation, prairie restoration, levee stabilization, nutrient filters, along with many other uses. The area holds much promise, and the University of Minnesota is currently working on a project that uses perennial crops in conjunction with growing corn and soybeans to prevent erosion and the cover crop's ability to trap nutrients before they run off into waterways. Perennial ryegrass is a relative newcomer to the species produced in Minnesota. Perennial ryegrass is used on golf courses in the winter to replace a dormant Bermuda grass. The rapid expansion of golf courses throughout the world has created a premium market for perennial ryegrass for the Roseau growers. Production acres numbered less than 1,000 acres in 2001 and have increased every year since. In 2022, we expect to harvest 60,000 acres in the area. We expect to continue since there's a very large demand for the crop. The only thing that seems going faster than ryegrass acres is the number of research questions relating to ryegrass production. Producers continue to depend on the Turfs Council and the university to answer these questions. Just as the Iron Range Resources and Rehabilitation Commission's investment in 1948 paid huge dividends to producers in the state, we believe continued investment by the state would pay huge dividends in the futures. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for giving me the opportunity to appear before the committee, and I would be pleased to answer any of your questions at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Zutz. My understanding, Mr. Clavin, is you're just here to answer questions. You don't got.
I have 2 quick points
Absolutely.
related to the funding. For
Mr. Clavin, you please state your full name for the record.
Yep. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Bruce Clavin, I represent Minnesota Turf Seed Council. And that is first point quickly on the history of the funding. My notes went back to 2005 in terms of how long this has been here. And just as some recent numbers, in the 2009 session, it was $65,000 a year. And then it was upped in 2011 to $108,000. And that stayed in 11, 13, 15, 17, and 19. And then in 21, it dropped to 75. And so we introduced the bill at the 2021 level. So there's a history of funding here. And second, there's a lot of interest in Forever Green in the committee. A lot of you are co-authors on Senator Seaberg's bill. Of course, she's not here right now, but this could probably be considered the original Forever Green
initiative in a large sense. Dr. Wise is here, and this has been his baby, and we understand that the position may be cut up there at the university, and so at some point before the markup, we may want to talk to you about having some language in the rider to address that with the Forever Green, but of course I need to talk to the author first. So just as a heads up, that may be a discussion we'd like to have with you prior to the markup.
Thank you, Mr. Clavin. Members, any questions for the author of the testifiers or comments on the nature of the bill? Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I really like this bill. I love native plants. Everything it does for the environment is really important, and I think that any money sort of spent in that regard is money well spent too. And I like what you said about just how it's going to improve production and, can benefit multiple parts of your region. So I'm a yes on this. I think it's great, and I'm glad that it got brought before our committee. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Gustafson. Other comments or questions? Seeing none, Senator Johnson, your final comments.
Just thank you very much for the opportunity to be here in front of you today. I appreciate your support on this.
Senate File 1712 be laid over for possible inclusion.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, next up on the menu is Senate File 878, Senator Green, wolf and elk depredation payments appropriation. Senator Green, when you're ready, please present your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I believe maybe someone on the committee might have to move the bill first.
Yeah, so Senator Dames would like to move the A1 amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just for clarification then, do they also have to move the bill itself first, or also?
Senator Green, if you could please describe the amendment very quickly for us, please.
Okay, the A1 amendment is, it actually plugs in money. When I put the bill together, I wanted to talk to people within the Department of Agriculture before I did that, and so I did come up with some numbers. They appear to be in agreement, but they'll testify to that themselves. So the A1 amendment actually puts in $250,000 a year per elk or wolves depredation for the next 2 years, and it also allows that money to carry forward.
Members, discussion of the A1 amendment. Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? A1 amendment is adopted. Senator Green, to your bill, the Senate File 878 as amended.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. I can talk about this bill, but I do also, Mr. Chair, have testifiers that I think can do a much better job than I do, and that would include Department of Agriculture, but also you have a couple people on your list that are going to testify remotely if they can be put on.
Mr. Schmaltz, if you would please, could you turn on your camera, unmute your microphone, state your entire name for the record, and then commence your testimony when you're ready, please.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good.
Oh, okay. I got something here.
We can see you too, so we're all good.
Oh, okay. Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, my name is Cody Schmaltz. I live near Lancaster, Minnesota, in Kitson County. Our ranch is in the far northwest corner of the state, about a mile south of the Canadian border. Together with my parents, my wife, and I, we run a cow-calf operation. Along with our neighbors, and we are all experiencing extensive damage to our pastures and hay pens and fences from the elk. I guess while I agree the elk are magnificent animal to see and fun to see, but the damage they're causing us up here is getting kind of a lot. It's starting to affect our livelihoods, I guess I'd like to say, and without the depredation to help pay for some of the damages, we would just slowly diminish, actually, because the way the DNR doesn't really want to put in more tags as of right now, but we're kind of right in the center of where the elk have been living here for the last 25 years almost now. But they go back and forth into Canada too, so we're kind of stuck in between that situation. And they were putting food plots out as of last year, the year before. They kind of wanted to quit the food plots, thinking that would help, so they wouldn't come on to private landowners' hay meadows and cropland, thinking, I guess, if having food plots, they feel they were training them to go to the fields or what, but it definitely helped in our situation to have other people or the DNR have some food plots away from like the neighbors' fields and our fields. And because lately, the last 6 years, we haven't even been able to put an oats crop in, I guess, because we just feel it ain't worth it anymore. Hardly, they just come in and totally destroy it all by eating it in the summer, fall, towards fall mainly too. They're all gathering up with their calves and stuff, so they definitely have increased a lot also. And so I'm on the elk work group meeting up here, and as of now, there are talk about moving some elk, I guess, further south by Duluth kind of and stuff in the next few years if it works out. But I'm sure hoping they come up with a little better plan for as far as controlling them a little more. But as for now, I guess I'm on here to help see if you guys can help us increase the depredation payment, because for what fertilizer costs are and like machinery costs, everything's tripled darn near. And I guess the last 2 years I've had to call and talk to Nicole Roski. She was on the agriculture, I forget what her listing is for, to see about the payments, if they're coming, and because you'd have to wait up to like 5 months to get the payment and stuff like that. So I guess that with that, as far as wolves, our neighbors are having lots of trouble with the wolves too. We ourselves we're in the middle of calving right now, and so we feel it that better to have they're calving a little early, so then when we let our cattle out on bigger pastures in the summer, the calves are bigger, so we have a little less trouble with wolf right around our area here. But just 5 miles to either way, to the south or west, the neighbors that fall calve and spring calve in May and June, they're having trappers up here steady. So there is getting to be more younger guys that are going to spring calving, and we talk about it a lot too, because it's so much work with the weather to be calving right now, but there's different ups and downs. So I guess with that, if you guys have any questions, thank you for letting me visit with you guys, Mr. Chair, and I'll, I guess, ask for questions, I guess, if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Schmalz. We really appreciate you zooming in and sharing your experiences with us. We'll go to another testifier, but we might come back to you if we got some questions. So stick around if you could, please. It's appreciated.
All right, thank you.
Now, Mr. Kushel? It's good to see you again.
It is good to see you.
We got to visit in peers, right? Mr. Kushel, if you would, please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Correct. Miles Fischel.
Yeah.
Greetings, Chair Putnam and members of the committee. My name is Miles Fischel, and I'm testifying today in support of Senate File 878 on behalf of the Minnesota Farm Bureau Federation, representing nearly 30,000 farmers and ranchers across the state of Minnesota. And because wolf depredation is not a partisan issue, I also wish to bring it to your attention that Minnesota's Farmers Union is also in support of Senate File 878. I am from Sebeka and serve on the Minnesota Farm Bureau Board of Directors. The district I represent encompasses northeast Minnesota, which encompasses nearly all of the historical wolf territory in the state. Although the current wolf range has expanded almost the Red River to the west and as far south as Anoka and Chisago counties. The issue of wolf depredation is front and center reality for our third generation cattle ranch that I operate with my family, raising the fourth generation. Additionally, I actively served on the state's Wolf Plan Advisory Committee, playing a role in creating a management plan that can one day be utilized to betterment of wolves and the farms and ranches that we interface with. Being from wolf territory, I know how devastating livestock loss due to depredation is. These instances are difficult to manage, hard to verify, and due to current management restrictions because of the gray wolf's protected status, farmers and ranchers are often left with nothing to turn to except the depredation fund. Although we wish to change the federal status, we know that is not current reality. Putting producers in a position of best utilizing management practices and seeking help after depredation incidences occur. This speaks to the importance of the fund and why we thank Senator Green for bringing this bill forward. Senate File 878 would appropriate funding for the depredation fund for the 24 and 25 years, 20-25 years, continuing to give producers access to the much needed reconciliation in the event of catastrophic loss created by wolf depredation. I thank the committee for this opportunity to testify today virtually, as we are calving too, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Crucial. Members, do we have questions for the bill's author or testifiers? Senator Kupec.
I'm just curious, how wide a range is the elk territory in Minnesota? I know it's up in the northwest. I just wondered how far it ranged to the south and to the east.
Senator Green.
Thank you. I might go to my testifiers on that. I think I have the answer, but I know they do, so probably Miles would have the best answer for that.
What he wants to present to. Mr. Crucial.
Thank you, Chair Putnam. I know the wolf range has historically been around the Skyme areas, but Cody might have a better handle on that. Is we have enough wolves around us that we don't have any elk.
And Mr. Chair, actually, I was wondering the elk range more than the wolf range.
Yeah, actually, can you hear me okay now, Mr. Chair?
Yeah, sure, Mr. Schmaltz, go ahead.
The elk actually have been spreading out a little more. Like, they actually started right along the border here by us within kind of a 5-mile spot, and now they're stretching probably 25 miles south to like Lake Bronson area. And so there is 2 zones for hunting the last 10 years already. They've had hunting season kind of from, they have zone 20 and the zone 30, and we're right in the core of zone 30. It's like a 8 miles by 6 mile zone. But that's about as far as they go, about 25 miles south. There is a few sightings starting to get maybe by Greenbush, maybe a few I've heard a little south of Roseau. So, but they do move a lot too, you know, back and forth and around, but there's definitely getting to be quite a few more around.
Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Schmaltz. Mr. Rivers, are you from the DNR? Do you not have any sort of insight? There we are. Sorry, excuse me, I didn't realize that. Mr. Rivers, you could please state your full name for the record and give us any insight if you have on this issue, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For the record, my name is Pat Rivers. I'm the Deputy Director for the Division of Fish and Wildlife, and Mr. Schmaltz represented it fairly well. We have 3 recognized herds that are also seeing animals disperse occasionally, but we do see a herd in Grigla, which numbers about 30, the Kitson Central herd, which is about 75 animals, and then the herd of Caribou Vita that we share with Manitoba can range from 150 to 250 animals, and they've been spending much of their time north of the border the last several years.
Mr. Chair.
Senator Green.
Thank you, and I appreciate the testimony. I would have, if I was going to answer that myself, I would have told you that I think the range is a little bigger than that, talking to people up there, because they are herd animals and they are grazers. And so they do stretch out quite far. And I think that you might find that people have even probably seen them down as low as Thief River Falls and then further to the east as well.
Thank you, Senator Green. Senator Kunish.
I have a question on here. And I'm sorry, I came in late. We're talking about Senate File 878?
Yes, Senator Kunish.
Good, I'm glad I'm on the right one. So it says, where is it? Down on line 1.14. So you're looking for appropriations for compensation for crop or fence damaged or caused by elk. And I'm just curious, what does fence damage or what does crop damage look like by an elk? And how do you know that it was done by elk and not some other animal up there?
Once again,
Senator Green.
Mr. Chair, I think I try to answer that, but if I'm wrong, if the testifiers can come in. You will know what goes through there. If the elk will go through and take out a fence, they don't just lay the fence down or snap a few wires. The fences could actually stretch out for quite some time because they'll go through them and just take them with them when they go. They're a big animal. And so they can destroy fences, and once the fences are down and the cattle are out, you have other problems as well. The crop damage is pretty self-explanatory because what they're not eating, they're trampling down. And as you can imagine, the one herd that's 150 or even one that's 30 elk can do tremendous damage and do tremendous damage. And I think that the testifiers from the Department of Ag could probably talk more about that as well as far as what the cost has been.
If you could please state your full name for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mark Abrahams, I'm the Plant Protection Director at Department of Agriculture, so both the wolf and claim compensation programs are in plant protection. So for both of those programs, we require trained investigators to investigate the claims. So in the case of elk damage, it's crop insurance adjusters who are the ones that actually go evaluate the damage. They've been trained by USDA APHIS Wildlife Services to recognize elk damage versus damage from other things. And so they verify the damage is from elk and then calculate the amount of loss to either fence or crop.
Thank you, Mr. Aronson.
I'm done. Thank you.
Members, any other questions or comments? Senator Green, Senator Westrom.
Mr. Chair, to the first testifier, you'd mentioned about you haven't been able to plant oats. Is that because there's so many elk and they just rut up the field and they like oats so well, or what was the reason for that?
Mr. Schmaltz?
Yes, actually, that's correct. Yeah, as far as like if you got an oats crop, they come in, like there's probably, even last year, I know we got, I suppose, between my parents and I, we have about 1,500 acres of hayland, and then some, we were always putting in like 300-400 acres of oats. Well, they move, all the cows have baby calves, right? Next to the field, probably in the woods or whatever, or also out in the fields even, like when, and then when it's about, July comes along, then their calves are big enough to go along with them, and then they're out grazing in the oats field, and they'll graze just the tips of the oats off where the flag leaf is. And once that main flag leaf gets grazed off, it might look like you got a fairly okay crop, but come fall and heck, it's just nothing hardly in there because it's all light. It'll reshoot, different shoots, but your main flag leaf. So your production is probably should have been 70 to 80 bushel to a crop, to an acre, I mean, and you may be lucky if you get 35, 40, and it's just real light. And I guess over the last few years, the commodity prices were cheap enough to where we just figured on, instead of going through the hassle with the elk, wrecking our crop steady, we're buying our oats that we creep feed our calves with. Yeah, and then we store a lot of these hay meadows that we cut one time. We very seldom take a second cutting even on our hay meadows. We just, because they're a mixture of grasses with red clovers and legumes. And then we'll fertilize everything once or twice a year and then leave all that stand for fall grazing. So usually we don't have to start feeding hay then until December. Well, now in the fall, when they all group up for breeding and stuff, you'll get groups of 35, 40 elk out there during rut and pawing up these hay meadows pretty much that we save for the cattle to graze. And then they eat a lot too, actually. Yeah, like in the winter now, we got fences around 5 different hay pens, and we got straw bales. I bet you, Dad spent 8 hours the one day putting straw bales around 2 different hay pens around all the hay bales. So we had enough straw because we went further 40 miles to get straw last fall, I guess, and stuff. And then we got put panels, yeah, it's getting to be so much hassle with them. It's crazy. As far as what else can I think of, like I'm at Dad's place actually, where we calve all the cows out, and he's got some elk coming right into his driveway. So then it's a pain just to open gates every day. You go feed the cows, and usually you don't have to worry about cows in your hay pen, so you don't have a fence we got fences around the hay pens, because they're on the outside of our wintering pens, so usually you don't have to open a gate to get into the hay pens. Well, now you gotta open gates to get into the hay pens because the elk are there. Oh, it just time consuming, so they do get, it does make you really frustrated actually when there gets to be too many. But sure, it is fun to see 5 to 10 or 15 here and there, but when it's starting to get 40, 50 like this fall now, there was up to 90 in the one group right along the road. The one night on our neighbor's field in the moonlight, they could count them easy. And yeah, you'll definitely know when they're in your fields and stuff, because there's manure all over the place, and you could see right where they've been eating, and we got tons of pictures, and like how many pictures can you take of them, you know? So it's gotten to be quite a problem.
Thank you, Mr. Smalls.
Very good,
Senator
thank you.
Kunish? Sorry, Senator Westrom. Senator Kunish?
Thank you.
So my question, that cheesecake, I got my mouth full of it, delicious. My question is, there's two of them. Is there already a fund that has a balance in it for past appropriations? And then the second question is, if there are dollars in 2024, does that roll over into the next year for 2025? And then in 2025, if there is a balance, what happens to those dollars?
Senator Green.
Mr. Chair, I'll refer to my testifier.
Mr. Abramson?
Mr. Chair, Senator Kunish, so the appropriations are by the biennium, so we have an appropriation now for both wolf and elk for 22 and 23 that expires at the end of the biennium. So as I understand, those funds return to the state. So in this bill, yes, we then have an appropriation for 24 and 25. It's important that we're able to carry the money from one fiscal year to the next because the amount of claims can be uneven from one year to the next. Another factor that's important is the ability to transfer money from one to the other. In the past, wolf claims have exceeded the amount appropriated, and we've needed to transfer funds from the wolf appropriation. And in this biennium, we have the elk claims are exceeding the appropriation. We're needing to transfer funds from wolves, so that's an important component.
Yep, then you answered my next question. Have they ever exceeded, or have you been rolling over those dollars as much as you can? So thank you.
Members, any other questions or comments? Senator Green, your closing comments, please.
Mr. Chair and committee members, thank you very much for hearing this bill. It's extremely important to us in northern Minnesota. The elk and the wolves are the responsibility of the state to manage, and so when they're doing damage, it is our responsibility to take care of that. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Green. Senate File 878 will be laid over for possible inclusion. Senator Kupec, Senate File 2154, program establishment to provide grants to prevent wolf-livestock conflict. Senator Kupec, when you're ready.
First of all, Mr. Chair, I will say that no other committee does a better job at theme days than the Ag Committee.
This is true.
This is true, and I appreciate that. Okay, we are starting with Senate File 2154, keeping with the theme on wolves going on here. And Senate File 2154, while the previous bill was for compensating farmers for damage to livestock, this is a bill that would help prevent wolves. So it addresses concerns that exist primarily, again, in northern Minnesota regarding wolf predation on livestock, most often calves. While livestock losses from wolf predation are relatively low in Minnesota, reducing wolf-livestock conflicts is critical to those effects. So as we just heard in the previous bill, this bill kind of goes hand in hand with that and will cut down on the losses caused by wolf or elk damage. As this committee knows, our reimbursement program is a critical tool for our livestock proceedings. So 2154 provides another tool in that toolbox dealing with wolves by making grant dollars available to assist farmers in preventing losses through the use of livestock protection animals, alarm scare devices, penning and fencing, and other known wolf deterrents. I will say that my predecessor to my Senate seat, Senator Eakin, owned 2 donkeys. Donkeys, interestingly enough, do keep wolves away. He had never had a wolf attack with his donkeys. Of course, we didn't have any wolves by his farm either, but needless to say, they are a way to prevent those wolves from attacking. So wolf-livestock conflict prevention grant program is now in its 6th year, been successfully implemented by the Department of Agriculture. In the past 2 fiscal years, the department received just over 25 grant applications totaling between $225,000 and $235,000. Applications were ranked by a panel comprised by MDA, USDA Wildlife Services, the Minnesota Department of Natural Resources, the Minnesota Farm Bureau, Minnesota cattlemen, Minnesota lamb and wool producers. Last year, 16 projects were selected for funding at a total amount of $63,672 in grant funds, or $79,890 in total project dollars when adding in the 20% producer cost share loss. So with that, Mr. Chair, I believe I have a couple of testifiers.
Thank you, Senator Kupec. Our first testifier is virtual. Ms. Falk, if you would please turn on your camera, unmute your microphone, state your full name for the record, and commence your testimony. Ms. Falk, are you there? Ms. Falk?
Can you hear me now?
There, now we can hear you.
Okay, yeah, I'm on a Facebook portal and it sometimes freezes up on me. Can you see me all right?
We cannot.
Oh, okay, well then maybe that's better. Okay. Because it's been a long day. Okay. All right. I'm just really thankful that you're allowing me to testify. I'm here to thank everybody for all the great help that you've done for the Minnesota ranchers and farmers to help with preventing wolf depredation and other kinds of animal depredation. I myself, my name is Mary Falk, and we have Love Tree Farmstead Cheese, where we're known for making cheese that reflects the flavor of the Northwoods. And the only way we can do that is we graze sheep, goats, and cows through our property, which half is dedicated as a wildlife refuge. So we're just really trying to bring in all the really cool flavors, and then we bring them to you in St. Paul because we sell at the St. Paul Farmers Market. So anyhow, if we couldn't do any of this without the livestock guard dogs. The livestock guard dogs basically act as traffic control. We have wolves that surround our property, and we'll also have coyotes, and the dogs just keep them moving. They keep them going to maybe the guy that doesn't have livestock guard dogs. So they speak the language that the wolves understand, and we've been very fortunate not to have any kills over the last 35 years. So we also have coyotes and bald eagles, but bald eagles are actually pretty cool. They don't bother us. But we do get aerial attacks by some hawks, and ravens can be really bad. And the guard dogs are also very effective with that. So especially with lambs. Horned owls can be very nasty. But the wolves are the biggest issue, and they're actually, for us, we have found them to be the easiest to control with livestock guard dogs, because the wolves do like to protect their energy, and they would rather go somewhere where they don't have to deal with a hassle than just going. It's easier picking low fruit, right? And they're not going to want to take on 3 or 4 dogs that are going to fight them for what they really want to hold dear and safe. So we're really happy with being able to have the livestock guard dogs. It's really enabled us to continue our business, which we never could do without them. And just to say all that, we don't have fencing either. We don't have perimeter fencing on our farm. So if we have anything, it's just a small little portable mesh fencing. And even with that, we're able to continue farming without the kills. And if you guys have any questions, I'll answer from the void here.
Thanks much, Ms. Falk. We'll go to our next testifier, but we might come back to you, so stick around if you don't mind. Our next testifier is Mr. Laurie. If you would please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Thank you, Chair Putnam and members of the committee. For the record, my name is Stu Laurie. I'm the Government Relations Director for Minnesota Farmers Union, and glad to share our strong support for Senator Kupec's SF 2154 to provide funding for Minnesota's wolf-livestock prevention grants. And similar to Miles on the previous bill, glad to share Farm Bureau's support for this as well. We also support Senator Green's work on the depredation programs. Just a couple brief thoughts. I spoke with one of our members this morning who's utilized this program. She also has livestock guardian dogs, and she had a couple points she wanted me to relay to the committee. I mean, first in what's been said, but these help in many cases prevent those losses altogether. So that's important because when you have a depredation, that's not just a significant financial loss, but it's also an emotional loss for that farmer as well. So if we can avoid those, that's better. It's better for those state programs. It's better for the farmer also, because sometimes you can't prove that there was a depredation, so it's harder to get paid out. Better if you can avoid them altogether. If this works for you. Second, she's had a lot of success similarly with her guard dogs. The grant program has helped her pay for veterinary bills. In fact, the way she describes it in Pine County, as with many areas of the state, we don't have very many large animal vets. She doesn't think she would have actually gotten a vet out to treat her dogs if she didn't have this grant program, so she could show them, hey, I'm actually going to pay you to do this full bill of work on my dogs. It's going to be worth it for you to come out to my farm. Finally on that point with her dogs, she got into this program, or she got into livestock guardian dogs through using this grant program at the state, and now she actually breeds these dogs and has a 450-person waiting list for folks who want to buy these livestock guardian dogs. They are a specific kind of breed. You do not want them in your house. You don't want them in your car, right? They're there to guard your livestock. So not all of those 450 people understand that. She has an Instagram, and folks see the puppies and maybe want dogs that wouldn't be the best fit for their lives. But it does show the interest in the program. Finally, I'll just reiterate what Senator Kupec shared about in many of the past years, there's been federal support for this program. This year is different. It's going to be on the state to fund this program going forward. We think it's been experienced success since 2017, and we encourage you to fund this program again. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Laurie. Members, questions, comments? Senator Gustafson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Kupec, I just wanted to chime in because I'm a world history teacher who hasn't taught a lesson for a while, and so I'm just itching to do something. But fun fact, about 23,000 years ago is when we think is when we domesticated dogs. And it really obviously came from wolves, but they would sort of linger by the caves, and the ones that were a little bit more tame and not as vicious, then those early humans would then breed those, and they became these amazing guard and hunting dogs, and that's sort of when the unstoppable duo of man and dog came together. And I think it is great. I think it's a wonderful thing to point out, because I don't know that everybody realizes that there are these types of working dogs that are made for this, and if it helps farmers and ranchers, then I'm all for it. But thanks for indulging me in my history lesson today.
Members, just another moment about how awesome the Ag Committee is. We do treats, we do coherence, and we do history. Senator Kunish.
And if you'd like to read about that as a library media specialist, there is a great short picture book called First Dog, and I believe is it by Jan Brett? Get that book, read about it, learn about exactly what my fellow senator here has just shared with you. So here we go. It's a full lesson.
So Senator Kunish, you said this is a picture book.
It's a picture book, but it's
so
a real...
perhaps next session afterward, we could have a little sit around.
And I think I own it, so if you'd like, I could I could bring it, and we could, I would read it to you if you'd all like to join in a circle.
Members, any other questions or comments? Senator Anderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Senator Kupec, could an applicant actually purchase a guard dog, and what would a guard dog, these guard dogs that Mr. Laurie was mentioning, do you know what the cost would be for a guard dog like that?
You can't, yes,
Senator Kupec?
Mr. Chair, you can't purchase that. Line 1.18, their purchase of guard animals. What exactly does a guard dog cost? I'm not aware. I don't know if Mr. Laurie knows or not.
Mr. Laurie?
Thank you, Chair Putnam, Senator Anderson. Hannah Bernhardt, who I referenced, she sells her dogs for around $500 a piece. They go for as much as $1,000. This is a specific breed. You know, a big challenge from what I understand, you know, the cost is sometimes a lot, particularly if you're a farmer who's trying it out and not sure if this intervention is actually going to work. You also need more than one dog most often. And the final point, they're sometimes hard to find too. You know, there's a lot of competition for these dogs. So thank you.
Members, any other questions or comments? Okay. Closing comments, Senator Kupec.
No, I just want to thank all testifiers and also thank Senator Johnson, Senator Kunesh, Senator Rarick, and Senator Putnam for being co-sponsors on this bill.
Senate File 2154 will be laid over for possible inclusion. Let's keep talking critters. Senator Kupec, Senate File 2311, if you could, please.
Thank you, Chair Putnam. 2311, we have gone from wolves and elk now to deer. So 2311 is deer abatement and crop damage report appropriation. This bill appropriates $100,000 from the general fund to the Department of Agriculture, the department working with the Department of Natural Resources and all interested parties to investigate and recommend options for addressing crop destruction due to white-tailed deer. The bill also requires a report from the Department of Agriculture on recommendations of the group. The report will be completed by February of, should be, I think, 2024? 2023.
Or 2024.
2024,
Yep.
and sent to the committee for review. They'd have to otherwise be time traveling. And listening to farmers, although crop damage caused by deer has always been a problem, more and more are showing this problem growing. Deer crop damage is causing more damage seemingly every year, and farmers are losing more bushels as a result and more dollars than every year. DNR wildlife officials have a general statewide harvest goal of 200,000 deer, and that goal was last reached in 2010, so we are falling behind on the hunting. Deer license sales have been trending downward in the 2000s, and the trends have further worsened the problem. And Mr. Chair, I have a testifier too.
Thank you, Senator Kupec. Mr. Bennett, if you would please state your full name for the record and commence your testimony when you're ready.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and committee members. Corey Bennett, representing the Minnesota Soybean Growers Association. Normally, I would have a few of my farmers here today to give them firsthand accounts of some of the damages that they're seeing on their farms caused by deer, but unfortunately, they are at Commodity Classics, so you'll be stuck with me this afternoon. Thank you to Senator Kupec for bringing this bill forward. It's something that my farmers are talking more and more about. I think there's always been a little bit of a love-hate relationship, quite honestly, between farmers and white-tailed deer and the destruction that occurs. But I'm starting to hear more and more and more in recent years from my farmers about just the extent of the damage that we're seeing. You know, just to give you a couple examples, and I talked to a couple of my farmers today, I'm just going to read off what they had to say. There's a farm down in Cannon Falls Township that borders the DNR land to the west and the north. This farm is 207 acres, and the headlands, or the first 90 rows kind of going around the field, are about 50 acres. Those 50 acres this last year averaged 12 bushels per acre. Normally, under the full extent of a harvest in the middle of the field is 50 bushels per acre. So if you take that $15 soybeans and the losses from just the outside of that farm and those acres, they would lose about $28,500 just on that one field of 207 acres. In addition, if they would spray Plaxkid, which is a blood-based kind of deterrent, they would put that on their farm for 120 acres. Usually this costs about $15 per acre to do that, and the product is usually about $8 to actually apply. They have to do that twice a year. If that's another out-of-pocket expense of about another $5,520. So if you want to look at just on that one piece of property, the total expense to the farmer with the Plaxkid deterrent and the loss from the crop damages from deer would be $34,020 just on that one property if soybeans are at $15 an acre, which is about what they are right now. So it's significant. One last example. Another farmer I talked to on the phone, 25-acre field, average bushel, 8 bushel per acre, again, across the board on that one field. And that field usually averages, soybean averages usually about 50 bushels per acre. If you take that and you apply that out at $15 per bushel, the total loss for that 25 acres is $15,750 loss, of which the farmer has no way of recuperating at this point. And so that is significant. As you're aware, and you have heard from the comments and from testimony today, there are several programs out there that actually compensate farmers for loss of livestock or loss of hay, loss of crops. You've heard about elk, you've heard about wolves. What we do not have in this state is a program that compensates deer damage to farmers. And that is is not only significant, as I just mentioned, but is growing worse, I believe, every year. The DNR, in working with the DNR, they do have some management tools that are at the producers or the farmers' disposal. One of those things that they can do is enter into a damage management agreement with the DNR. Basically, what that entails is that if there is significant loss that the farmer has out there, they can contact the DNR. The DNR then can come out, a wildlife manager can come out, and they can take a look at that property. They can verify the damage. As a result of that, there may be some abatement types of opportunities the DNR might recommend. But most of the time, under certain circumstances, they will limit a special shooting permit to the farmer, on average about 10 animals on an occurrence. The problem with that has been, and although it has been a tool that my farmers are trying to utilize, within the DNR, it's gotten to be quite the problem, because imagine when the damage is occurring in September, October, June, July. Imagine when it's 90 degrees out trying to convince hunters to come down to your property to harvest deer. It's just practically impossible. So not only is it a timing issue, but there's also an issue because, as you can imagine, most farmers in the fall have already harvested what they would have planned to want as far as venison. The last thing they want to do is probably is more venison in their freezers. So that's become a problem. And yet it's hard to try to figure out how and when do we try to connect with those hunters to bring them down into that area. We have landowners. Probably people will say, well, why doesn't the landowner want them? Well, I don't think of a landowner that is in my association that want 10 deer at the end of the year. Number one is we have a wanton waste rule or law in the state of Minnesota that says that you have to process that animal. You can't just let it lay. Minnesota has a wanton waste rule with regards to white-tailed deer. And because of that, if the farmer decided, okay, I'm going to harvest that animal then would need to be processed and would need to be taken to the locker at their own expense. There are opportunities at some times to offer that meat to food shelves, but that is becoming increasingly difficult because obviously the food shelves want a quality of meat that has guarantees of no lead. And sometimes when you have lead fragments from shot, they tend to throw out the entire batch, and so it's got to be a little bit discouraging on that end as well. So the problem is just not seeming to solve itself with the tools that are currently at their disposal. And I don't think that's any indifference to the DNR or the Department of Agriculture. I think they're doing a great job with what they're having to do. I think that the tools that they have right now are just limited, and I think that that's what this bill starts to try to address. What are those tools that we could possibly utilize to alleviate this issue? Quite honestly, I started out talking to most of you very broadly when I started drafting this bill with Ms. Painter. I started to come out and say, well, let's just put in a compensation program for farmers. But you can imagine how difficult that is when I started to talk about things with the DNR and with regards to the Department of Agriculture, what that price tag would mean. I just mentioned $35,000 on one piece of property. That adds up very, very quickly when you start talking about a statewide mammal and agriculture across the entire state of Minnesota. I thought about, okay, well, maybe we should just do a pilot program. Well, you can imagine how popular that is with some of my farmers because they all want to be a part of the pilot program. So where do you start? That is one of the problems that I think is what I'm asking for, or the soybean growers is asking for in this legislation, is to say, quickly, this got to be a bigger situation and a bigger topic than I think that we had time for this legislative session. And so that I think what this bill is asking for is to say, okay, listen, we know that according to my farmers, this process is broken. And again, it's no fault of anybody's, it's just what it is. But because of the things I just mentioned, it's not getting any easier and it's not going to get any better. And so what this bill offers to do is to say, okay, can we get the DNR, the Department of Agriculture, interested parties together in a room over the summer into the fall, and then come back with some recommendations on what are some of the solutions. This bill, as you noticed, does not recommend one way or another what those solutions should be, and I think we did that on purpose so that we can bring all ideas to the table to see exactly where and what ideas are out there and where they would like to go in looking at this. So, what they come up with, I think that it's going to be up to them. But hopefully they come up with some sort of an idea on how this new system could work in the future. And then after that, just kind of bring the report back to the committees of jurisdiction, your committee, Mr. Chairman, with recommendations on where do we go from here. So that's my testimony, Mr. Chairman. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Bennett. Members, questions, comments? Senator Westrom.
Mr. Chair, Senator Kupec first. Would this cover farmers that have hay or silage or that type of crop as well as crops that are growing in the field? Are we looking at everything or just growing crops?
Senator Kupec, Mr. Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's a very good question, Senator Westrom. If you look on page 1.10, it does say crop destruction due to white-tailed deer. I've obviously, in talking with some of the cattlemen and others, I am certainly open to including other things such as hay and alfalfa and things of that nature, if that's what the committee so chooses. I just looked at crops because that's what obviously my soybean growers wanted me to look at. But if there's opportunities to look at other things, I am certainly open to whatever those might be.
Senator Westrom.
Thank you for that answer, Mr. Bennett. And Mr. Chair, I would maybe see if council would have an idea of what an oral amendment would be just to get the bill in the shape.
Ms. Painter?
At least I'd be interested in making sure, and while she's thinking, I'll just share. I mean, one of the farmers I get a call from frequently, just frustrated because there's damage to their livestock feed piles, mainly hay bales, and silage is another part of it, and the nuisance that it is. So I would think if we're going to do a group like this, it would behoove us to probably try to look at all the different avenues. Generally, it's still farmers. It's whether it's the crops in the field or once they brought them in for harvest.
Senator Westrom, we will be laying this over. This is a great idea and a very important thing, so this is something we can do still, even if we don't do an oral amendment now.
So, and Mr. Chair, second question. So my only reason of putting the amendment on now is that when it's laid over, it would at least have that incorporated if you're open to that, Mr. Chair, or Senator Kupec's open to it. I should ask him as well, but.
Senator Kupec?
Mr. Chair, Senator Westrom, if we included the word crop and forage, and maybe Ms. Painter could say, would that cover, do you think, what you're looking for?
Senator Westrom?
Mr. Chair, Senator Kupec, thinking forage maybe would, but I'm not, maybe Ms. Painter could look up the definition of feed. I don't know if forage means feed stock, or because I hear forage crops, which would make me think of alfalfa, corn, but forage itself is feedstock. Ms. Painter, do you have any wise insight?
Mr. Chair and
sure
members, Senator Westrom, you have so much faith in me. I think just for now, we could just mark it with and forage, just to make that note, and then keep working on it offline.
Okay. Mr. Chair, if that's acceptable to Senator Kupec for the purpose of including it, I'd offer that amendment.
Sure, absolutely. I think that's fine.
And the last question, Mr. Bennett, Senator Kupec, do we need $100,000 for this? And I ask that we just we've just spent some committee time discussing the grain indemnity fund, and there was multiple stakeholder meetings that were pulled together by the Department of Ag that resulted in that bill coming forward after a year or two. Why do we need to put $100,000 into this? Why can't we just direct the department to pull stakeholder meetings together like they did with the grain indemnity fund and bring a report back to us? By calling that out, we had language in last year's bill that wasn't even a directive, it was just a permissive. And they found time to get that taken care of. And so I'm wondering if we really need the $100,000 allocated as opposed to just giving that directive or permissive language to the department. It seems like the Department of Ag should be taking the lead on this, given the farmer connection, but they're probably going to have to bring their good friends, the DNR, over to at least join in on the meetings or stakeholder groups. But what are your thoughts on that?
Mr. Bennett, do you appear to want to? Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
Senator
Mr. Chair,
Kupec.
could we bring somebody up from the department who could maybe answer that a little bit better?
Not just somebody. Commissioner Peterson is coming here. Commissioner Peterson, if you would please state your full name for the record and then offer whatever wisdom you've got.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. Tom Peterson, Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture, and appreciate this discussion on this issue. Basically, I always look at reports as we try to, we do a lot of reports. A lot of the reports that we do, most of them are not funded. A lot of them are updating reports every year, so it's not always a tremendous amount of work. But new reports, funding is helpful, and because our employees have jobs and things that they do every day, so to find somebody to put in a report. So I always say sometimes we use RFP too on the report, so we might not necessarily do it, but we might contract with somebody to do it as we would look at it. So I always say you do 10,000, you get a $10,000 report, you do 50,000, get a $50,000 report, do 100,000, and so on. And so I think funding does help because it helps us focus an individual on that. But, that's kind of how we look at it too, is, how much. But they do cost time. They do cost dollars and everything. And this would be a new area, for us to look at. So funding is helpful and appreciated.
Thank you, Commissioner Peterson. I'd like to just briefly go back to Senator Westrum's forage question and make sure that we do get that in the record so that we give it the respect that it's due. Ms. Painter, would you read an oral amendment for us, please?
Mr. Chair, members, yes. The amendment would be page 1, line 10, after crop, in quotes, insert, and forage, in quotes.
Members, we have an oral amendment before us. Senator Westrum, will you move that oral amendment? Any discussion, commentary? Senator Anderson?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. To this discussion, I know that I have orchard growers out in my area who have major problem with deer. So I'm looking at the horticultural area and vegetable producers also who have problems with deer. And I don't know how that all fits into the category of trying to narrow down this definition of what deer do, but they have a wide spectrum of damage to a lot of different areas.
Thank you, Senator Anderson. So our goal with this oral amendment is to have in record that we want to fix it. It sounds like forage might work, it might not, but we'll keep working on it. So to the oral amendment to Senator Westrum's motion, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The oral amendment is adopted. Senator Kunish.
I have a quick question. So this is discussing or looking at destruction due to white-tailed deer. And so I'm wondering, how is that different and how do you differentiate from elk like in the previous bill? Or could you just roll this into that program as well?
Senator Kupec or one of your testifiers?
Well,
Mr. Bennett?
I'll start. The elk, I think, is pretty specific to a general part of the state, Mr. Chair, and the deer is everywhere, including, my backyard in urban Moorhead. I lost everything. I don't think I'm going to get compensated for that, but I lost everything. There was no spaghetti sauce this year. My wife was very upset, so.
Mr. Bennett, do you have something to add about your spaghetti sauce?
No, Mr. Chairman. I think that the senator answered it perfectly. Yeah, I think the difference is we just have a statewide animal when we're talking about deer, and elk are obviously more regionalized. And working with Ms. Painter, I actually tried in my first attempt at a draft of a compensation program. I actually kind of drafted it to look like the elk compensation program as well. So I think that they could mirror each other. They might not be specific to, there's certain areas, but I think they could mirror each other. I certainly would be okay with rolling it into the elk program. I mean, they have their money there, but I'm not sure they would like that. But in the future, yes, I could see something like that potentially occurring if the group comes back and says that there's some sort of depredation account for farmers that should be in place. I don't know if they're going to come back with that or what that would look like. But if it would, certainly I think it could mirror something like we've already done with the elk program.
Senator Knish?
Nope, that's good, thank you.
Senator Anderson? Do you have a question? Members, any other questions or comments? Seeing none. Senator Kupec, your closing comments?
Sure. I just want to also thank Senator Dornick, Senator Dames for sponsoring this on, and to Senator Anderson's comment too about the fruit that might also just be covered by the word crops. So apples, orchards are crops. So hopefully that would also get in there, but that study would look at that as well, because that is also a very important part of our farm economy in the state of Minnesota. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Kupec. Senate File 2311, as amended, will be laid over for possible inclusion. Folks, I hope you remember a couple days ago on Monday, I asked you to clear your dance cards for Monday, this upcoming Monday. It's going to be a late night, a longer night. We're going to have 4 bills about meat processing and really get into that issue. And then we'll have about 10 policy bills that we hope to get through pretty efficiently. So it's going to be a longer day, but a very productive and useful one. I'm going to save you the drama of reading through all of them. They're available to you. We have this room until 7 o'clock that evening. I'm hoping that we will be more efficient and not need quite as much time. But that is a possibility. Senator Dames?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. We're talking about these 14 bills coming up on Monday. Have all those bills been heard in the House?
My understanding is that some of them have. Senator Dames?
If they have not been heard in the House, it's my understanding they would be not qualified, because all bills have to be heard, unless they've been heard in a different committee. In the Senate, all bills have to be heard in one in the House or the Senate in one committee.
All these bills will be laid over, so they will stay in this committee?
But that's not the point. According to the deadlines, the bill either has to be heard in the House in one committee or in the Senate in one committee.
Sir, Names, my understanding is that that's a front desk decision.
Okay. Because I think that needs to be discussed, because if we're going to set deadlines and follow them, then we need to follow them. If we're not going to set deadlines to follow, then we shouldn't be setting deadlines. And so just wanted to bring that up, sir. Mr. President, Mr. Chair, get that right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That was a rough promotion you just gave me there. I appreciate your point, Senator Dames. We are following the rules as our understanding of them as best as we can. Members, seeing no, Senator Westrom.
Mr. Chair, just to get a better plan of attack on Monday, are you expecting that we just continue on from 5 o'clock? Would we break for caucuses and then come back? What's your thought?
That's a great question, Senator Westrom. My ambition is to be as humane as possible. I'm hoping we can get through this stuff efficiently, because many of these are extremely non-controversial. If a break is necessary, a break will be taken. If there are caucus responsibilities that are impinging upon our work, and I'm aware of those, we can accommodate for those as well.
And the only reason I ask is, Mr. Chair, if we do recess at 5:15 for caucuses, and they take an hour, hour and a half, we might need the room past 7, so maybe I'd get it till 9 o'clock just so we have a room.
Your enthusiasm is appreciated, Senator Westrom. Thank you for that consideration. We'll think about it.
But your thought is we'd probably recess for caucuses, assuming we have them.
Assuming we have them.
Yeah.
We're operating with the assumption now that we don't, but if we do,
Okay.
that would be something we'll consider when the moment comes around.
All right.
We will be as flexible and humane and responsible as we can in that day. We do have some work to get done, but we will do it as efficiently as we can.
Mr. Chair, given the theme of our meeting on Monday night, do you think that there will be tasty treats from that group too?
Well, the meat processing might have an interesting result, but
Some kebabs or something, I don't know.
No, I won't sign that.
Members, thank you very much. There being no further business before the committee is adjourned.